stood out. They're just so vibrant. And, Rachel couldn't be here tonight, but Justin's going to speak on her behalf.
Yeah. Thank you. I know we have a lot of people that want to talk. You want to keep it to a certain time frame?
Yeah,
Talk
maybe.
fast?
Sure, a little bit.
Okay.
5 minutes? Or less?
I will talk.
Okay, all right.
All right. Hey, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing these events. I will admit that I am a relative newcomer to this whole political scene. I am Justin Terry. I'm not Rachel. She's my wife, so I'm a little bit biased. I think she's great. But the convention that we went to was my first convention as well. I got there at about 6:15 in the morning. One of Rachel's friends drove by herself. She was from Logan, so I walked her out to her car because it was late. She might be the most courteous driver I have ever seen in my entire life. I didn't get home till 1:30. Everybody in that parking garage got out before we did. It was okay. That said, I would like to share a little bit with you about Rachel. I do have some flyers for her. It has her QR code, gets to her webpage. Her cell phone number's on there, so you can reach out to her, talk to her. We have some signs, that kind of stuff as well. But like we said, Rachel has been I'm talking fast. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll go quick. Rachel has been a practicing attorney for 20 years. She loves being an attorney. She's done it for a long time. She worked when she graduated from BYU. That's where she finished up law school. She worked for a law firm in Salt Lake called Fabian and Clendenin. It's Fabian Bangkok now. Worked on a lot of mining issues, a lot of things that are really important. We live in a state where mining, coal, natural gas is an important part of what we do, especially when you get into UN and carbon counties, things like that. From there, she worked for the Department of Education. She got to see a lot of the things that happen in our schools. A lot of good things, a lot of bad things. Worked with students, teachers, principals, superintendents. Was able to see a lot of the lawsuits, how they affect our children, and how some of the legislation we have, specifically Title IX related issues, are being affected and put upon our kids in ways that it wasn't initially intended to. After that, she worked, she was a deputy director. I'm hoping I'm getting all the steps right. After that, she was a deputy director for the League of Cities and Towns. Got to see every little city, municipality within our state and saw what matters to them, how the legislation affects the things that we're doing. Everything from growth in Saratoga Springs to mining issues in carbon and UNA. To all the stuff that we see along the Wasatch Front, skiing and stuff in this part of the world. Everything that we have affects us differently depending on where we live in the state, and it all matters. It's very important. From what she does right now is she is the director of an organization called Risk Management. It is a state entity. She has about a $200 million budget, has a whole bunch of employees, and since she's been there, she's restructured a lot of the way the insurance premiums are done, has saved the state about $10 million in insurance premiums, saved another $1 million at some other restructuring that she's done. She's not afraid to take an organization like the AG's office and make the changes that need to be made to make it run more effective. I think we all know there's a lot of times when we're in a government job, we're in that job forever and you're not that good at it, you never get fired. It's not a good way to run a government entity. There are some people there that are doing phenomenal, amazing work. There are some people that maybe a change might be good, either up or down in different directions. She's not afraid to make those changes. She's made them where she's been at right now to make it more efficient and more effective. A lot of the things that has been amazing about doing this whole campaigning thing, I'll be the first one to tell you, I think I said before, I'm new to a lot of this political stuff. Rachel's loved it forever. I've kind of been on the side and just kind of waved and supported her, and it wasn't my deal. But it has been so fun and amazing to see so many people be supportive, to be able to meet so many people, and to be able to understand what people's concerns and cares and fears and wants are as it pertains specifically to the AG's office. With that, she's had a lot of people that have supported her on a small level, on a big level. One of the recent endorsements that she got that matters a lot that she received, that's my Idaho education kicking in, was the Fraternal Order of Police has endorsed her, which is a very big deal. Police work very, very hard. They do a lot of hard things. Their life is scary and difficult, and they saw what she did and liked it, and they were able to support her in her run as well. There's a whole bunch of other ones as well that we won't get into all of those. But that said, thank you for giving me a minute to be with you today. I know I'm not Rachel. I don't probably do her justice, but I try my best. But I'm really proud of her. She's doing a great job. It's been a lot of fun to see the success. We do have some signs. I do have some flyers. I'm going to stick around until the end. Feel free to talk to me, ask me any questions. I know most of the stuff, not all the stuff. I'm not as smart as her, so if we're going to dig in deep on attorney stuff, I'll tell her I don't know, but I'll tell you where you can get it. And the rest of the stuff I think I can answer hopefully pretty well. But that's it. Thanks for letting me be here. I'm going to pass it down. Wait, I don't want to interrupt anybody else that's talking. Okay.
Frank Mylar, he's our convention winner for State AG, and he's led and managed a successful law firm for the past 24 years. He's been married for 36 years, and he's got 5 adult children and 5 grandchildren, and we welcome him to the stage.
I wonder, can you come on in? Can you guys hear me? Can I get you down here more?
I don't want to squeeze anyone out.
We're all standing in the sun.
You guys can maybe move in a little more. Yeah, Justin, you did a great job. I've heard Rachel speak a lot of times. I think you covered every point. So
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
good job. I'm Frank Mylar, and there's a couple of big things about my campaign, and I call it trusted experience. It's just the sheer number of years that I've been practicing law, but it's also on a day in and day out basis. Now, it's true, Rachel has some decent experience, actually a lot more than Derek Brown. There's no question about that. But also, I have actually a lot more than Rachel. I'm the only one here that's actually had jury trials. That's where you're really putting it to the test. You know, and I had one actually just before the convention, a 12-day jury trial in April. I'm the only one that separately, as counsel of record, filed U.S. Supreme Court briefs by myself. In fact, I did one just 3 weeks before the convention, fighting the federal overreach in eastern Utah. So again, fighting the feds is not theoretical to me. I'm already doing it and have done it in the past. And that's the big thing about my campaign, is it's not only a lot. I graduated from law school 37 years ago, and I've been a solid conservative before that. I'm not from Utah originally. Lived in some liberal places like California, but Montana also, Idaho, and then Washington State. And realized how outrageously liberal it was even in 1970s. And now you're feeling that here in Park City, being a little bit like Seattle was probably in the 70s. But I knew it was just as liberal as San Francisco then. I knew I wasn't going to stay there forever, and it was by God's grace that I found this great place called Utah that was so amazingly family friendly. And we love it here. Our family loves it here. We just have a passion for the values here. And the biggest thing is that not only am the only candidate who's actually prosecuted criminals. I've done that. I've actually had my first felony fraud trial less than 2 years out of law school. And that's important because you're considered the chief law enforcement officer of the state. And the bulk of the sheriffs have actually endorsed me in this campaign because I work with them on a day in and day out basis. They know who I am, they know my work. And that's significant. There's some who don't really know my work, and they may not have endorsed me, but the bulk of them that know my work actually do endorse me. I'm also endorsed by the Utah GOP veterans, also by Moms for America Action. There's been a number of organizations, Utah GOP PAC, actually it's Platform PAC. Actually, I'm mispronouncing it. So those are the people that endorse me because they know my values fighting this thing. I'm allied with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Does anyone know who that is? It's an amazing organization that is the leading organization that is fighting for your rights all over the country. They represented the state of Idaho defending their pro-life laws just a few weeks ago in the U.S. Supreme Court. They also are on the cutting edge of fighting Title IX, fighting Title IX problems and defending women's sports and women's bathrooms. And let me tell you, this is a passion of mine that I've been plugged into. And I will state to you right now that I will fight to protect girls' bathrooms and sports without exceptions. There should not be any exceptions to that. And there's a lot of nonsense like this that needs to be spoken about, and it's not. For instance, where was the Attorney General during COVID? Did you guys have any direction constitutionally? No. But people called me all the time and asked, can we do this, can we do that? I gave them free legal advice. Alliance Defending Freedom called me up and said, Frank, can you help people get religious exemptions? I helped lots of people get religious exemptions, and by God's grace, everyone I helped got the exemption, including my daughter, who's a nurse at Primary Children's Hospital. And so these are the things I've done for free. I've also defended pro-life sidewalk counselors in front of an abortion clinic in Salt Lake City who are wrongfully criminally prosecuted. Because that's what you have to realize. Some people are wrongfully criminally prosecuted. So I actually have criminal defense experience. And so that's also important. And I did not charge them a dime for doing that either. And so that's what one of my slogans is also, actions speak louder than words. Everyone's going to say they're going to fight for your values. I've already been doing it. That's how you know I'm going to fight, because I am doing it. And the bottom line is, whether I get elected or not, I'm going to continue doing it, but I can do a lot more as the Attorney General. I was the only candidate, I believe, that's actually supervised attorney and attorney work in the AG's office, but also outside the AG's office, also for the Department of Corrections as the Director of Legal Affairs, where I also was over supervisors and a number of staff in that position. So I know how to supervise, I know how to manage a successful law firm, thankfully, because it has done super well. I never advertise. You don't see a sign that says one call, that's all, because thank God I don't need to advertise. And I have more work than I can ever imagine. And I still, by God's grace, had enough money to raise 5 kids, get them through college, and still take on a lot of these free cases. And some of the free cases I'm taking on now, well, actually, it's not a free case right now, but one of the battles I'm fighting right now is actually the Corporate Transparency Act. Because again, this was brought to me, Austin Hepworth brought it to me, as well as Phil Taylor, and said, look, this is a real problem. I started hearing about it on the campaign. And people were telling me about this, and I realized, wow, I'm going to need a register for this. Anyone own small businesses here? You're probably going to have to register under this Corporate Transparency Act, and you'll get fined $500 a day if you don't. So this is a serious thing, and it's very intrusive, the information that they want from you. And I'm not going to go into all that now, but this is another battle I've taken on because this is what I do. And do you want an Attorney General who's actually going to fight for your rights and not just talk about it? That's who I am as an Attorney General. You can guarantee it because you can look at my past history of actually doing it. Now, I'll tell you this. I need people to take all these signs that we have here. We have lots more, so please take them all if you're going to put them up somewhere. We also need people to volunteer. We need people walking neighborhoods. We also need people to give, right? None of these things happen without donations. You can go to Frank Mylar 4, the number 4, ag.com, and you can donate directly. You can also look at my flyers that we have down here on the table. It has a QR code. You can donate directly from that QR code. I'm going to ask all of you to think about it, pray about it, and give what you can tonight, because this is what funds my campaign. It's people like you. It is not corporations. It is not lobbyists. It is not this big money that some people are getting. And that's why I depend on you guys. But also, I'm beholden to you, the citizens of the state of Utah, which is as it should be as your state attorney general. So I ask you to vote for me. I ask you to also help me get elected, because everyone comes out, I will get elected in this primary. Thanks.